Capricorn, welcome to Yellow Cardinal Tarot with me. My name is Carol. Capricorn, this is going to be a general reading for August 2024. So before I begin your reading, I just want to let you know that my offer for personal readings will be coming out very, very soon. So please stay tuned for a video that's going to come out to explain everything and how it's going to work. So in today's reading, we are going to be doing mirror work. So what is mirror work? Well, let me just tell you that mirror work is probably one of the best things that you can use to start to heal yourself, to start to find out what is coming up from your shadow to heal. And if you're new to shadow work, I'm going to leave a video for you. I'm going to link it right at the end of this video. And it's a video that I've done for my other channel called Carol Cares. And it's a video on shadow work. And it's also linked in the description box as well. So, yeah, it's going to tell you all about how to do shadow work. And shadow work is just basically healing what's coming up from your unconscious. So mirror work is about the whole concept about the universe is trying to reflect something to you that is connected to your inner world, to the unconscious. Now, I know that's a bit heavy, but I want you to understand it as when we start watching our outer world, like people that are in our life, like what's happening in our world to us, or even what's happening in the world itself, what's going on with our pets, what's going on in our own systems, health-wise maybe, or children. Children have an incredible way of triggering us. They always will be a mirror for us that are reflecting something back to us that we need to see, especially when, we sit here and go, they're driving me crazy, they're pissing me off, they're making me angry. That is mirror work. That is what the universe is reflecting back to you. That's related to a pattern or a belief system or a struggle or whatever it is that needs to heal. Now, let me give you an example. I am a retired teacher, and so I think it's really important to give you an example, a concrete example of mirror work. So I saw mirror work yesterday in action, and to me, I said to myself, I was trying to figure out why this was happening to me, because that's what mirror work is. And I knew it was because it was the story that I needed to tell you, the example. So yesterday I brought my car in for the umpteenth time to get fixed, and I now know that it's time to get rid of my car, by the way. It's just given me a lot of clues and things, memories that I'm done with, part of this in my life, so it's time to get rid of this car. I know. But I was in the garage yesterday waiting in the waiting room with this woman, and there were just the two of us, and she had just finished talking to the technician. And you could tell that she was very much someone that was full of fear, full of anxiety, just the way she was walking around and talking about how she needed a cigarette. And I could just feel her anxious energy. And she started to talk to me, and she told me about her car and what it was doing. And her car, when it came to slow down and came to a stop or a light, she said she could see the whole dashboard, lights start to dimmer, and there was shaking going on, and her car would stall at the stop sign or at the lights. And this was happening all the way to her drive to bringing her car in, and it was happening all the time. And she told me there was even one incident last week where she had a police officer stop her because she was stalled in the middle of traffic, and he followed her where she was going. He followed her home. Now, this isn't, the woman's probably close to my age. I don't know. I have a hard time with the age. But she told me she was living with her parents. And I'm thinking in my head, like, why would you drive this vehicle knowing that it's going to stall all the way here? And the fear and the anxiety in her system over this car doing this to her was incredible. Now, she could have had a tow truck bring it in. She could have asked people she was living with to, give her a ride. But here's the thing about what's going on in this woman's outer world that she didn't realize that I knew it was going on because I've lived what she's going through. She's living a flashback, and the panic in her system. So she still thinks she's back in this flashback, and she doesn't realize that she can get out of this as an adult, but she still thinks she's back where she was a child and something was happening to her over and over and over again that was bringing up all this fear and all this anxiety, and she couldn't get out of it as a child, but she can as an adult. And so even just having that police officer saving her, and to me it just sounded like this was something from her childhood that was coming up for her to heal. And if you don't think that your car can be a mirror for you, oh my God. My car has been an incredible mirror for me to, bring back a lot of my own flashbacks of when I was trapped as a child and I couldn't get out of my situation. And so this is what, it's very critical on this journey to start to become aware of what's going on in your outer world, your conscious world, and use it as a mirror to reflect what's happening or coming up for healing in your inner world from your unconscious. It's a fascinating concept that the universe has for us. It's beautiful. But this is the way we can start using our triggers, these people around us, our relationships, what situation you're sitting in with your own relationship. How is this a flashback? How is this bringing up patterns from your childhood? And so we're going to start right now and get into this reading because I could chat forever about mirror work. It's fascinating. So for your reading today, Capricorn, I'm going to use 3 decks, and I'm going to start off with the Rider-Waite deck to pick out my 8 cards for you, my main cards. And then I'm going to clarify those 8 cards with 2 other decks. And so for your outer world, which is going to be on your right, I'm going to be using the Tarot Grand Luxe deck. And then on your left, for your inner world, I'm going to be using the Tarot of the Abyss to clarify that. And I'll also be clarifying the 2 bottom parts for you also. Message from the universe and the healing card. So there's a lot here to shuffle out, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you on speed shuffle, and you can listen to music for just a bit while I shuffle. Capricorn, here we go. It takes a lot to shuffle out these cards. Wow. Okay, so I have a overriding energy for you, an overriding energy from your yearly reading that I did for you in January 2024, and they're in my description box if you want to have a look at those. And I pulled your card for August, and your card for August, Capricorn, is the 8 of Cups. And so the 8 of Cups talks about this individual that's walking away. And he's not walking away from his emotions necessarily. I mean, he has them all lined up here. But he's walking away so that he can do some healing. So that he can start to feel, really feel these emotions. And sometimes and you notice how he's doing it on his own. This healing journey, is a very lonely journey because it's a journey that you can only do alone. I know a lot of us want to grab on and hold on to somebody, and but I have someone that I've been doing my own healing journey with for 7.5 years, and she's a trauma coach. And so yes, I found someone to hold on to, but some of us, want to hold on to, partners or friends or colleagues, and it's just hard sometimes. It really is a journey that you have to do the work yourself. And so that's the 8 of Cups where you're walking away. So we'll see how that plays out here in this reading for you, Capricorn. You start off with in your outer world, and this is where your conscious world, what you are aware of, what's going on with you. You start off with the Lover's card. And the Lover's card is an interesting card to start off with because, it talks about it talks about, I mean, some people say that it's a big choice to be made. Maybe that's the situation. But it also talks about these two individuals that are very vulnerable, very, very intimate. And if you look at it, there's two figures here, a masculine and a feminine figure. You know, we have two sides. We have a feminine part and a masculine part of us. We don't all know it, but we do. And so it comes out in my deck, and you'll see it's going to come out a bit here for you. And so this card right here to me speaks about the duality of those two sides of us, because we can flip-flop between those two sides. We often are in our masculine side, which is our ego self, and yet we forget about this feminine side to us that is all about emotions and all about authenticity and creativity and getting back into your body. And so it looks like this is going to be a big play for you. This whole idea of, you know, connecting and joining those two together, this intimate relationship that you have with yourself. And it does make a lot of sense, because you are, it looks like it looks like this reading is gearing towards you going towards your feminine side and doing some healing for yourself. That's what I'm getting a bit here. So we'll see. So you have this first of all, this figure, these lovers here, and then you get into the Sun card in reverse behind it. Now the Sun card is a card that just speaks about pure joy. You know, to become in a position in your life where you're just content. And I hate to use the word happy, where you're just content to be you, be who you are. And maybe this is where what you're striving towards. And you have the Five of Cups here. And this tells me in an upright position, this is someone that has really been sitting for a while, focusing on these three spilled cups and not able to see these two cups here, not able to see that, you know what, there is a way out of this. Just because when we get into that state of hopelessness, we can really get stuck in it for so long and just not see a way out. But this is in an upright position. There's two reasons why this is in a reversed position. There's two reasons why this can be in a reversed position. First of all, it could be that there's a real resistance on your part to getting out of this. Maybe you're sitting in a lot of depression, a lot of hopelessness. But the other side to this, in which I'm going to lean towards, it's like maybe you're coming out of this and maybe you're starting to realize, you know what? I want to heal this. I want to heal my hopelessness, my depression. I call it the futility, this feeling of futility, of being like feeling like that whole thing of like, why bother even trying? So maybe you're at a point where you want to try, you want to get out of this. Because I see here that right at the end of this, which is interesting enough, you have is your Page of Coins. You can't ignore the pages. The pages in my deck are our inner children. Yes, we can have more than one inner child. Mainstream psychology likes to say we just have one. But someone that's been on this journey for a while now, intensively, I know that I have more than one inner child. This particular inner child holds the pentacle. He holds the body. When you were younger, like 4, 5, 6 years old, your inner child was very grounded in their body. And so I'm seeing here that you have a younger part of you that needs healing. Whenever that comes up, there is a younger part of you that needs healing. It was a part that knew what it felt like to be grounded, to be in your body. And so I'm wondering here if that's where you're being drawn towards this inner child of yours that knows what it's like to be in their body and knows what it knows what it feels like to feel joy. And then the next one is there's been a real tower moment in your life. This is a real change in your life here. The universe sometimes, we get these baseball bats from the universe. they can come sometimes after, and it's kind of like it's one of those events that happens in our life where you look back, it's like a 20/20 hindsight, where you look back and you go, yeah, I know why that needed to happen. And usually it's because the universe has been trying to steer us in a certain direction. There might have been some red flags that you might realize afterwards, and you just kind of look back and you go, yeah, I know why that had to happen. I know why that happened. And I think maybe I'm wondering if you're coming out of it because you're realizing, especially if maybe you've been sitting in your futility for a while, and maybe something has come up where it's like it's really shaken you, really shaken you now. And I think this Three of Coins comes in here, and this is the Three of Pentacles. This is usually like a co-creative card. When I see it coming up in on my channel, because this is a healing channel, it kind of refers to, for me, it's like working with someone to help you through this. So it becomes a therapy card for me. So I'm not sure if you're deciding to go back into therapy, if you've decided, or start therapy if you've never done it. Maybe you're thinking about it. Maybe you're wanting to get some help, and maybe you've started it already. So it's it's a general reading here. And then at the end you have at the end of this Tower moment, you have the Queen of Wands. The Queen comes in for us. Now, my queens in my deck are the feminine side to us. And the masculine side are the kings, our ego self. And they're going to come. I see them coming out here soon. So let's talk about the Queen of Wands. This Queen of Wands has that wand in her hand. And the Queen, the feminine side of us, is a very creative side. And I don't mean creative, I mean it could be, but it's not your what you would think of, like, becoming an artist or becoming learning how to play an instrument. It's like, leading your life, doing something for yourself, putting yourself first, and doing something maybe that you've always wanted to do, thinking about taking your life in a different direction here. And she's come out, but she's in reverse here. She's in reverse. So she's blocked, which means that there's a resistance on your part. Sometimes, the king can come up and the ego self can block her too. So that's why that's why maybe you've sat in depression for a while, because if our feminine side is blocked, if there's something that's wanting to come up, some sort of creative direction that you're getting this nudge and you want to take your life in, what if our feminine side is blocked, our creativity, and there's a page here that needs to be healed. There's something that needs to be healed a lot of times before we can take our creativity in a different direction. She can feel quite hopeless, and sometimes a little bit of anger, because behind that anger is grief often. So your creativity is blocked right now. So there's some clearing here to do for sure. Then you have the Four of Cups here coming in. And the Four of Cups is in reverse, but in an upright position. This individual has decided that, you know what? I don't want to feel anymore. I'm not willing to feel my emotions. Maybe they're done feeling. But there's this cup here that's coming in from the universe here and saying, let's go one step further here. Let's go one step further. Let's go a little bit deeper here. And this is in reverse, which means I'm wondering if there is a resistance on your part to, again, there's either a resistance on your part to taking that cup, or because of what's happened, this Tower moment, you're deciding, you know what? I'm going to take that cup. I'm going to take this cup. I want to start feeling again. I want to start my healing again. And so this is already, like I said, I've seen this as around deciding to heal, needing to heal. There's therapy coming in here. There's, the Tower moment. So, and then the Four of Cups comes in again as a clarifier right beside it. This explains it now. And I saw that when I was dealing, but I forgot. So, yeah, I think you're going to take that cup because it's up right now, right? There was a big resistance here. Or you've started to heal, and you've just made a decision to, but then you're backing off from it. You know, there's a couple ways you can interpret that. But I think here, because of what's coming up here, I think you're deciding. You're making that decision maybe to get back into therapy and get some more help. And the Seven of Coins comes in here. And that's the last card here, the Seven of Pentacles. This is an individual that has been collecting these pentacles all her life. Collecting them every day. And then she's getting to a certain point here where it's like, is this everything? Is this it? You've spent so much of your time and your life maybe sitting in this depression, or trying to figure out, you know, this was my situation, what's wrong with me, and so much time trying to figure this out. Sometimes we stay up in our heads and we try to figure it out in our heads. And I think you're realizing that, you know what, there's got to be more out there. There's got to be more out there for me. Like, realizing this isn't it. There's something else out there for you. So there's some real need here for you, I think. And maybe a want to heal, which makes a lot of sense, because we talked about the Eight of Cups at the beginning as the overriding energy, as you walking away to heal. Yeah, there it is. Putting it together here. But I can't seem to forget this Page of Coins. I never forget my pages. So this is your outer world. I want to turn now to your inner world, and how this is a mirror. It's going to mirror what's going on here. So this inner world of yours, this is when you were a child, and a younger child or an adolescent. And this is, you know, this is the stuff we've picked up along the way, and it's sitting in our unconscious. We pushed it away, we repressed it, put it all away. A lot of times it just wasn't safe for some reason. We were too young to deal with a lot. So we're going to see what's coming up here. First card that comes up for you in your inner world is the Temperance card. And in an upright position, I often say that this is a card of middle ground of things, you know, of having sort of a balance in your life. And right away I'm seeing that there was an unbalance here, right? There was no middle ground here for you. And so right behind it is the Hierophant card, the Wise Man card. And in an upright position, this talks about, you know, the shaman teaching these individuals about what he knows. And so, you know, they're there to learn, and he's spewing out what he knows. And it's kind of like a wiring process, if you want. And this talks about, you know, how were you wired? How were you wired? And it's about obedience and how you were raised. And this is in reverse here. And so I think this is in reverse because I think there has been sort of a resistance on your part to look at this before and to start to question, how am I wired? How was I wired? And really, really, you know, start to pay attention to your mental thoughts and the people around you that raised you, and start to really get a good idea of, you know, how was I wired? Because there's a really young child here that needs healing. And so you have to start looking at, you know, what sort of things affected me when I was younger that made me into the person I was. And that's part of when you get into this healing journey, you start to really pull this all apart, because you need to rewire all of this. And maybe that's why it's in reverse too, because this is about how you were wired. But now it's like, well, maybe it's time to become rewired. And the Knight of Wands here is coming out, and the Knights in my deck are about freedom. And so you have a real freedom fighter sitting here wanting to, wants freedom from the wands here. And that's like taking your life into the direction you want to go into, because there's a purpose here. There's a purpose. Wands are about going in a purposeful direction here. So there's a real energy in inner world of wanting this freedom, a part of you wanting this freedom to discover the new you. And it's not really the new you, it's the you that's sitting in your unconscious, but it's going to be new to you. So there's a real freedom fighter that wants to come out and fight for. I'm going to say fight for. It just came out because of, you know, how it looks like you've been sitting in a lot of this yuck for a while. And you have the 9 of Cups here that comes out in your inner world. And the 9 of Cups talks about an individual that has, you know, there's 10 cups in the completion of the cup suit. And this individual only has 9. He's sitting down quite comfortably, crosses his arms, and decides, you know what? I'm done healing. I've collected all the emotions I want to. So I see that when you were younger, there is a reason. Something happened where you shut down your emotions. Shut them right down. And we're going to find out here. And right after that was, you know, you get the 5 of Wands. And the 5 of Wands is a card, another wand card here. And it's a card of the battle of the egos, I'm going to say, because they're comparing their sticks, these two birds, and one has a longer stick than the other. My stick's better than your stick to make this nest. And so this can be us, where we actually, you know, start to compare ourselves with other people, and you just end up feeling less than. And so this is really like an unworthiness card here. Shame card here. So I think that there's some shame coming out here, which explains why this younger child needs healing. Shame coming out here of who you actually were. And when we have shame, and it's kind of in the center of everything, when we have the shame, for some reason when we're shamed, and we all have shame in our shadow, in our unconscious, all of us have it. It's not something we're born with, it's something that's given to us, but it seems to be the center of your inner world here. And that can explain when we have a lot of shame, it really can lead us to a lot of hopelessness, because shame just feels like you're a piece of shit and you don't matter. And the only choice you have as a younger child is to kind of just give up on emotions and feeling, because this is what this 9 of Cups is. And I think that's why all of this, you know, depression and hopelessness that you're sitting in right now is just a mirror of what happened to you when you're younger. And here's the shame that we found out. This is where it's coming from. The next one is another knight, a Knight of Swords this time. Well, because of this shame, you know, this knight wants, I said, the freedom. They fight for freedom. They're like an adolescent part, I said. But this one's fighting for, like, to be to be real, to be authentic. It's the authentic sword cutting through the bullshit. And so I think here that because of the shame that you had, it really covered up, you know, it blocked who you were, who you really, really were. Because when we're feeling this hopelessness that we carry into us, into our adulthood, you know, there's us underneath that, but it's really hard to get to the real us when you've got this layer of, I should call it like a thick layer of guck that needs to be healed. And then you have the Hermit card right at the end of all of this, you know. And so if you look at this row right here of your inner world, it starts off with somebody, a child, you, shutting down all your emotions. And it ends with going inwards. It ends with going inwards, and the Hermit card is about going inwards. But as a child, you might have went inwards. You might have went quiet. You might have turned in. And so what happens was, if these emotions are too big for us, when the shame is too heavy, well, that's when we repress it. That's when we repress it. Because there's not one part of us. Because oftentimes when the shame is being given to us from other people, it always is, you know, we really tend to blame ourselves, because that's all we have. If we were to realize that this is coming from everyone else, that it's their fault, they're the ones that are giving it to me, then that would leave you so much alone. And so it's easier to blame it on ourselves. And so we still have these people around us, these caretakers or whoever it is that's giving us this shame. At least we have someone, right? And so you really went inwards, repressed your shame that you felt. And this is why it's here for you as an adult, to finally heal and to get to that part of you, that page that needs healing about your shame. Yeah. Now, I'm going to go back to the Page of Cups, the Page of Pentacles from your outer world for a second, because I think I mentioned this about the page getting back into his body and being in the pentacle being your body. And I remembered, but I think I forgot one point, and this is really bothering me right now, so I need to go back to it. The pentacle itself is about your self-worth. And so I'm seeing here now that this particular page that's holding this pentacle is holding your self-worth, because it's coming out here in your inner world, your inner world here to heal. It's all about your self-worth and your shame that's healing here. And then finally, in the last row, you have the Nine of Pentacles, right? So the Nine of Pentacles is a card about someone that, people say like it's a card of abundance. For me, it's a card of just being very much aware of your surroundings, and sort of a contentment. And kids are very much like that. They can go and play on their own. They're quite content to be on their own. But there's a card that comes, and so I'm seeing here that, you were on your own when you were a child, and it's okay to be on our own when we feel supported and validated and loved. But this next card is the Seven of Wands. And the Seven of Wands speaks about this individual that's gone out on his own. And I think of myself a lot with this card, is where I've had to go out on my own to heal. And you have all these individuals at the bottom here that are not supporting them and not validating them, and want them to bring them back down off the pedestal, right? No, you got to stay with us. And so this is a card very much so of not feeling supported and not feeling validated, and feeling very much alone, feeling your loneliness when you were younger. And that's tough, and that's why a lot of times we blame ourselves for it, because these are big emotions for kids to feel. They can't feel this. And then you have the Nine of Pentacles again. So, yeah, this really stresses here. You have the Nine of Pentacles in another deck. So you have the two Nine of Pentacles surrounding this individual that's very much alone. Yeah, very much not supported here. So I think this really stresses about how lonely and alone you were when you were younger. And that just, explains exactly why you feel like so hopeless. So hopeless. And it's really becoming, like I said, I don't know what this Tower moment is that's happening to you right now, or has happened to you, but I think it's really shaken you up. And it's time to really go inwards now and heal this younger part of you that felt so alone, so unsupported, so invalidated when they were younger, and so unloved. And that's why you're carrying all this shame and this unworthiness. So what is the message that comes out from the tarot here? We have the King of Cups. The King of Cups is the masculine side of us. We talked about the Queen being the feminine. This is our ego self. And so your ego self right now is out. When this pain is coming up, when pain like this rises to the surface, and this is, I can feel here that there's a lot of pain here for you. And the Three of Swords didn't come up here. I'm surprised, because there's a lot of pain coming up here. Our ego self will come out because it thinks it's doing us, it thinks it's right in what it wants to do. It thinks it's blocking our emotions. And the ego self will say to us, and I want to tell you one thing about the ego self, they do not like emotions. They will scream out. If you know Will Robinson from Lost in Space, I'm dating myself. But the robot always went around going, danger, danger, danger. And that is our ego self. Our ego self will tell you not to touch those big emotions right now that you need to touch. They are petrified of emotions. Our ego self will keep us in our head because we don't have emotions up here. Our emotions are in our body. This is where we have repressed them. And this is why the ego self wants you to stay in your head so you don't feel those. It's safe in your head. But this reading is calling you to get back into your body. The feminine side is coming out here and starting to feel. But your ego self right now is going to tell you and is telling you that do not touch these emotions. You have the King of Pentacles right underneath it. You have two kings, which is very powerful. So I'm saying here, like, and even this king, he's the Pentacles. See, he's the King of the Pentacles, the body. He's going to tell you that going into your body is nonsense. Don't dare go there. Stay up in your head because, you know, that's where it's safest. So you've got two kings. You've got a really strong ego self coming out here. And the tarot wants you to know that they'll block you from going inwards and doing this work that you need to do to heal your inner child. And then you get the Four of Coins, and it's the Four of Pentacles here. In an upright position, this talks about being attached, right? Being attached to something. In this case, it's in reverse because I think here that the ego self wants you to stay attached to, you know, your current situation, stay attached to this depression and this feeling of hopelessness, and just doesn't want you to touch your emotions. And so how are you going to start to heal this? How are you going to start to go inwards? Go into your body, ground into your body, get in touch with this pain, this unworthiness, this shame that you need to feel. The Death card comes out. Here's the first card that tells you what you know, how you're going to start to heal. Well, the first card says it's the Death card. There are people in your life, things in your life that need to go. There are things or people in your life that need to go. There's all kinds of dead bodies here that this skeletal figure's walking over. When you are on this journey, unfortunately, when I started this journey 7.5 years ago, I mean, I've been trying to heal all my life from my own complex PTSD. And when I finally found the right coach 7.5 years ago, she told me at the beginning of my journey that there are people that you're going to lose. I didn't want to hear that. And I knew who the one person I needed to lose at that time. I knew who I needed. Like, it was my husband at the time. And I didn't want to hear that. And part of me in my head, my ego self said to me, you know, I'll lose other people, but not my partner. And yeah, so there are people that, and you know who it is, and you know what things have to go in your life, because if you're wanting to go on this journey, like I said, sometimes it's a journey that you take alone, and we can't have people around us that invalidate us and are not supportive, because this is what happened to you when you were younger. You were not supported, you were not validated. So what happens is we tend to repeat that same pattern and attract those type of people, the same people that don't support us, don't validate us. And we get to a point in this journey where we start very small, and certain people have to leave our life and certain things have to leave our life. And then eventually you just know that, you know what, this person can't be in my life anymore if they don't validate me or support me. I am on this healing journey. And you have the Seven of Cups here, and the Seven of Cups is talks about distractions here. There's so much out there, and even this woman looks like she's in the clouds here, very distracted. So it sounds like it, you know, the universe wants to get you into a place where you're less distracted, where you're not as up in your head. Sometimes I call this a dissociation card because she looks very cloudy up there, right? It's all clouded up there, where you're not as cloudy and not as, I'm going to say sometimes traumatized if we're around people that are not validating us and supporting us. They're re-traumatizing us. Because, you know, here's the 9 of Wands. Another reminder from the universe is that you've been through a lot. You've been through a lot and you need to heal. And in order to heal, some things or people have to go. And because you need to get a clear mind here, more clear, so that you can heal this. There's some real healing that needs to be done here. And so I hope this helped, Capricorn. It was a really heavy reading for you today, but I think it gave you a lot of direction, I'm hoping. I'm going to leave you a playlist on shame, because that was the one card here that really came out in the middle here. And then I'll leave you with the video on how to face your own shadow. And that is a powerful video that I put out for you on my other channel. So Capricorn, I want you to have compassion for yourself for what you're working through. This is not an easy journey. In fact, it's the hardest journey of your life, but it's the most important one. I'll talk to you in 2 weeks. Bye.